If you walked past a millionaire on the street tomorrow, you probably wouldn't notice them. Not because they're hiding, because they don't look like what you've been trained to expect. No watch, no logo, no new car in the driveway. Meanwhile, the guy leasing the BMW 2 houses down, he's 3 missed payments away from losing it. We've been taught to read wealth completely backwards. And in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how one ordinary person unlearned that and what it actually cost and bought along the way. It's 6:45 on a Thursday morning. Sam is standing at the kitchen counter, eating cereal out of a bowl with a hairline crack running through it. Outside, the neighbor's Tesla pulls out of the driveway leased 8 months ago, paid off never. Sam's car is a 2012 Elantra with a coat hanger holding the bumper on. Nobody's fixed it because nobody's noticed it's still holding. Sam opens a banking app, looks for 6 seconds. $890,000. Closes the app, finishes the cereal, drives to work. Not one person at Sam's office would guess that number. Sam's own sister doesn't know that number. This wasn't always the plan. 9 years ago, Sam believed exactly what most people believe, that if you're doing well, people should be able to tell just by looking at you. Go back to when Sam is 24. First real job out of college. Starting salary $52,000. It feels enormous after 4 years of instant noodles. Within a month, Sam signs a lease on a 1-bedroom downtown. $1,750 a month, nearly half the take-home pay, because the building has a rooftop pool and a doorman, and because Sam's coworker Ben lives in a building just like it. Ben is 25, works in ad sales, and treats his income like a scoreboard. New sneakers every few weeks. A leased Jeep. A credit card he calls his emergency card, which somehow gets used every week. Sam doesn't think Ben is reckless. Sam thinks Ben is winning. So Sam starts keeping score too. New laptop, even though the old one works fine. Bottomless brunch most Sundays. A credit card balance that creeps from $0 to $1,600 to $3,200 without any single purchase feeling like the one that did it. By the end of that first year, Sam has earned $52,000 and has $340 in savings. Then, at a cousin's graduation party, Sam ends up sitting next to great-uncle Theo. Theo is 79, spent 40 years running a small hardware store before selling it. He's wearing a flannel shirt with a small hole near the elbow and drove himself there in a pickup truck old enough to be somebody's science project. Someone at the table jokes that Theo could probably buy the restaurant they're sitting in. Theo just shrugs and says, "Maybe." But nobody needs to know that for it to be true. Sam laughs along with everyone else, but that sentence doesn't fully leave the table with everyone else. That night, lying in a $1,750 a month apartment Sam can technically afford but can't actually afford, the math finally gets done honestly. Income for the year, $52,000. Net worth, negative $2,860. Once the credit card is counted. 24 years old and, on paper, worth less than nothing. Nothing changes immediately, but 3 months later, Sam breaks the apartment lease, eating a $900 penalty, and moves into a smaller unit across town for $1,050 a month. It's fine. It has a working stove and a window that opens. That's genuinely all it needs to have. Sam sets up one transfer, $125 out of every paycheck, moved before it can be spent, into an index fund nobody else will ever see the balance of. There's no dramatic before and after here. Sam is not chasing a hot stock or a side hustle that changes everything overnight. It's the same unglamorous $125, twice a month for a very long time. Ben, meanwhile, upgrades the Jeep that same year. New payment, $540 a month. Sam notices. Sam doesn't say anything. By 26, Sam's account has quietly crossed $16,000. The apartment still has the same secondhand couch. The Elantra Sam bought used for $6,400 still runs. From the outside, nothing about Sam's life looks different at all, and that gap, between what people assume and what's actually true, starts to feel less like a secret and more like an edge. At 29, a market downturn hits. Over 2 months, Sam watches $71,000 shrink to $54,000. $17,000 gone from a screen faster than most people plan a weekend trip. Sam calls Theo not really for advice, just to hear someone not panic. Theo says, the store had bad years too. You don't close the doors over a bad quarter. You close them over a bad decade. And this isn't that. Sam doesn't sell. Keeps the $125 transfers running straight through the drop, buying in at prices lower than they'd been in 2 years. 5 months later, the account isn't just back to $71,000, it's at $86,000. At 30, Sam gets offered a promotion with a $22,000 raise. The catch: constant travel and a manager known for 60-hour weeks. The old Sam would have said yes on the spot. This Sam runs the actual math: more taxes, less time, higher pressure to spend to match the new title, and turns it down. A coworker calls it a strange decision. Sam just says, "I'm not trying to buy more stuff. I'm trying to buy my evenings back." By 33, Sam's net worth crosses $280,000. The lifestyle hasn't grown to match the income, and that gap is now doing the heavy lifting. A friend buys a $52,000 truck. Sam buys a 4-year-old Civic for $14,000 cash, and feels nothing while signing for it the way you feel. Nothing buying groceries. Ben's Jeep gets repossessed the following spring. His income never actually dropped. He just kept stacking obligations against it, the way people do when the visible version of success is the only version anyone's tracking. Sam covers a month of Ben's rent quietly, and neither of them ever brings it up again. At 36, the account crosses $650,000, and something shifts that has nothing to do with a paycheck. One Sunday, Sam notices the market's growth. That quarter, $4,100, was larger than what Sam had personally contributed, $2,600. The money is finally earning more than the person earning the money. That winter, the Elantra's transmission finally gives out. Repair estimate: $2,100. 3 years earlier, this would have meant a credit card and months of quiet stress. Now Sam transfers the money without a second thought. Sam's partner, Rhea, notices and says, "You didn't even flinch." Sam says, "I used to flinch at $300. Now this is a Tuesday." Rhea goes quiet, then asks the harder question, "So why are we still driving this car?" Sam doesn't have a clean answer that night. Here's the part almost nobody talks about. Getting quietly wealthy changes your relationship to nearly everyone around you, and not always in a comfortable direction. When old friends stress over a $400 repair, Sam remembers exactly what that fear felt like at 24, but can't quite access it anymore, and pretending otherwise feels dishonest. There's a specific kind of quiet in being financially unreadable to people who've known you your whole life. Being underestimated used to feel like an edge. Somewhere along the way, it started feeling a little isolating too, and nobody warns you about that side of it, maybe because it doesn't fit on a spreadsheet. Uncle Theo passes away the following winter. At the service, his son mentions almost in passing that Theo left behind far more than anyone had guessed, quietly built over decades, in a pickup truck the dealership offered him scrap value for. Sam doesn't say much that day, just thinks about one sentence from a graduation party years earlier, and a cracked cereal bowl, and how none of this story was ever really about the number. It was about who needed to know it and who never did. So the next time you see someone driving something expensive, don't assume they've made it. They might be financing a lifestyle that needs them to keep working forever just to keep the lights on it. And the next time you see someone driving something ordinary, don't assume they're behind. They might already be free and just not interested in telling you. If this shifted how you think about wealth, hit subscribe. There's more of these coming. And tell me honestly in the comments, is there something in your life right now you're buying to look successful instead of investing to actually become free?